Okay, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are watching from. Welcome to the 𝗖𝗛𝗔𝗚𝗟𝗦 community. We're going to be having an AMA session with the WAGMI Games. These guys are amazing. So, for those who might be hearing about WAGMI Games for the first time, so Scott, can you give us like a simple but like detailed information or introduction to like what the project is all about? What's like the story behind the project's creation? Was it like a specific like moment or a problem in the gaming or Web3 space that inspired you to build this? A lot of blockchain gaming projects pop up with like big promises, but not all of them, have like a real vision beyond like the play to earn model. So what makes WAGMI Games like different?
Yeah, so great question. Hello, everybody. My name is Scott Herman. One of the co-founders here at WAGMI Games. There's actually 5 of us on the core team. So WAGMI Games started about 3 years ago with a vision to not just bring a gaming franchise to life, but to get back into storytelling. For those of you here that are gamers, I'm sure you grew up playing your favorite video games, and what made them your favorite were that the characters had original stories. The gameplay was more focused on fun rather than the woke message that is very alive in both movies and gaming right now. And games that you've probably been playing since you were a kid, you're probably still playing now for that very reason, right? Even some of your favorite movie franchises, you collect the toys for those movie franchises or for those characters because you fall in love with the story. You can relate to those characters. And so when we decided to bring WAGMI Games to life, my partner, Lewis, he had an amazing story to already go with a game we wanted to develop. And our first title is WAGMI Defense. And it's a mobile game. We actually just launched our soft launch version of the game on December 12th of last year, so a little over a month ago. And we're available on iPhone and Android. But, in those very early talks, it really came down to what can we do differently than what everybody else is doing in the Web3 space? And at that time, it seemed like every single other game was coming out with a first-person shooter, or they were coming out with a game with heavy focus on just play-to-earn mechanics or just an NFT collection. And there was never really much focus on actual gameplay, which is why a lot of those studios are not around anymore. So WAGMI Games is actually a 100% bootstrapped company by us. There's no VCs. There's no incoming token dumps. There's no vested tokens. In fact, if you guys go to our chart, WAGMI Games on the Ethereum network, you'll notice that the diluted to fully diluted supply is pretty much the same because most of the tokens are already out there. So when this franchise begins to take off, which we're very close to that happening, seeing that we're now live, you're not going to have to worry about these big VCs coming in and dumping on you because they just don't exist, right? We've been able to fund this thing ourselves. We've raised over $7 million. We've worked with some major studios on our IP. All of our characters were designed by a studio called GadgetBot. GadgetBot is known for working on big titles like Apex Legends, Call of Duty Black Ops, Pacific Rim, Transformers, Jurassic World, Ender's Game, Alita Battle Angel. So when we went for the character design, we wanted to create characters that were like very memorable, right? Not just another, guy in a spacesuit, next to another guy in a spacesuit and they have different powers. We felt that, if there's nothing memorable about the game or the characters, why would you stick around and play it? So the game play itself is tower defense style. So for those of you who have played Clash Royale, consider it the same gameplay, except that we're horizontal and all the characters are NFTs. So we're not play to earn in the sense that you're earning token while you play, but every time you win a battle or as you progress through the game and level up your character, level up your account, you'll get different types of war chests, and those war chests contain NFTs. In fact, I think we were the first game to go into testing where you can actually purchase NFTs on a mobile device in the iPhone store and Android store with a credit card. And that's available now. We also have our own marketplace that we're launching this week. And so you guys can actually spend the WAGMI Games token in game to make these purchases of the characters. And some other big utility for the token is also that there's going to be skill-based wagering probably end of Q2, Q3 this year, where the only token you'll be able to use is the WAGMI Games token. And so we've always focused on bringing a lot of utility to our token, not making the game about just earning it. Because if you do that, you're not going to have mass adoption. You're not going to bring the Web2 market to your game because they don't care. They don't play Call of Duty to earn COD points. They don't play Fortnite to earn V-Bucks. But if you show them an opportunity where they can use those tokens for certain things in the game, and if they get good at the game and earn more, they can cash them out and it turns into, USDC, whatever you want to turn it into. There's opportunity there. Now, with the NFTs in our game, we have a process in which you can actually level the cards up from level 1 to 10 using an in-game resource called Nefi. And you can also level up or evolve your cards from common to rare, rare to epic, and epic to legendary by collecting more of that same card. So if you collect 5 commons of, let's say, the Alien Emperor, right? You can then evolve that to the rare version of the Alien Emperor. And then 5 of those cards create an epic, and then 5 of those cards create a legendary. It takes about 125 commons. So if you go to any ZK EVM compatible website like Token Trove or Sphere on Beam, you'll see people buying and selling and trading these cards all day. And in our previous beta, we actually had players that were earning about $200 to $500 a week because they were grinding, they were opening up their war chests, and they were actually selling it and trading these cards. And so while we're not play to earn in the traditional Web3 sense, you're still technically playing and earning if you get good at the game and you're collecting these cards and you're able to sell them on the secondary marketplace, which is great. But, what got me into wanting to do something like this is I'm a lifetime gamer, lifetime into anime and collecting. In fact, I'm speaking to you all in my office surrounded by, Dragon Ball Z Funko Pops and statues and One Piece posters, and got my Xbox and PS5 wall mounted because I'm a little OCD and things have to be neat. And I have a whole other wall that's all Marvel and DC. When you fall in love with characters and gaming and specific franchises, you become a lifelong fan. And when we all came together as the co-founders at WAGMI, what was interesting was that we wanted to tell our own story. We wanted to do something big, memorable, and create a legacy. And so for those of you who are into anime, we've actually already have a trailer for anime we're going to be starting to produce to go along with the game. So if we want our game to continue to last longer than just, the play value of it being fun, we need to start creating stories that can be brought into the game for like live op opportunities and things like that, right? So we worked with a company called Powerhouse Animation. They're the same studio that animated Castlevania on Netflix, He-Man, Tomb Raider, Blood of Zeus, Sesmanos, right? And we worked with them to create our anime trailer, which is available. You guys can all watch it on YouTube. In fact, when you download WAGMI Defense from the App Store, it's actually the first thing you see. You see an opening sequence of one of our main characters. Her name is Melkros, and you're kind of seeing her journey going from teenager to her family being abducted by aliens to her being turned into a cyborg at the end. And that's actually the playable character of her in the game, is her in her cyborg form. We've also been working on creating merchandise around the anime and gameplay. In fact, we have U2s that are going to be available probably in March of Melkros and one of our other characters, the Alien Emperor. For those of you who don't know what U2s are, they're like a more detailed version of a Funko Pop, okay? And then we'll also have a toy line that we've been working on to come in conjunction, to come at the same time as our anime gets released, because it'll probably take about, 6 to 7 months to create the anime. And the toy line that we're working on is actually being worked on by the man, his name is David Varner, who was the lead developer of the Marvel Universe 3 3/4-inch toy line. So we actually have a lot of people on our team that have done this before. And I think one of the things that makes WAGMI Games very different from a lot of other studios in Web3 is that we're not rushing to market just for hype. Anything that we've done here, any step that we've taken, anything that we've released, it's always been well thought out, and it's been done in a way that we can focus on sustainability of the brand. And if we're going to create a hype event, whether it's around release of gameplay or updates or anime or our merchandise, it needs to be done in a way that's sustainable and sees continued growth for the entire brand. So that's kind of a long general overview of what we're building here, Brad. So let's move on to the next question.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, a lot of gaming projects, a lot of crypto gaming projects, started with like big hype wave, but they struggle to keep that momentum going for long term. But you know what I mean. But many either fade out due to lack of adoption, poor economics, shifting market conditions. So what are some of like the key strategies WAGMI Games have put in place to ensure the project remain sustainable and continue to grow over the next few years?
Great question. So to answer that with a general statement, I'd like to kind of repeat that we are a bootstrapped company and we survived this bear market. And there's been a lot of companies, I know even Midnight Society raised $35 million or more, and they just went under. And we've seen a lot of other studios go under that have raised $10 million, $15 million, $20 million, and they're not around anymore. And the reason why I say it in this way is to just show all of you here that we know what we're doing. We've been able to survive, and we've proven it by surviving the bear market as a bootstrap company. Right, only raising about $7 million. Now, some of the benefits of being bootstrapped. First of all, it sucks. I'm not going to pretend like it's fun being bootstrapped. That we would love someone to come in and give us $35 million like Midnight Society. We would do so much more with that, right? Obviously, but what tends to happen when you have a lot of money and you don't have the right people in place is you start to get a bit lazy. You lose a little bit of focus. You kind of think you're too big to fail, right? And being the underdog and having to make sure that any money we spend is spent wisely, we've been able to stretch that $7 million as far as it needed to get stretched to get to this point right now and see continued growth. So of course, over time, you're going to make mistakes. We just believe ours have been much smaller and our focus has been laser focused for the mere fact that we want to be successful and see this thing through. Now, for a continued growth, obviously, we're at the point right now where we've soft launched our game. We have a player base. We haven't gone fully into our marketing yet. We're probably going to start doing a lot of our big marketing closer to March because with the game being soft launched, there's bugs and there's updates that we want to add to the game over the course of the next 4 to 6 weeks. So, in fact, we're actually implementing our new back-end system for the game on Monday. We've been working on this since probably like early November, late September, late October. And what that's going to allow us to do is add features to the game much faster, balance the characters much easier, and overall latency in the game will be much lower, right? It's just back-end technical stuff that basically means that the game will run more efficiently on all devices and we can add, more content and more features at a much faster pace. The biggest thing that we have been working on aside from the game over the course of the last few months have been really focusing on getting our story and our anime out to the people. So we have been having conversations with Tier 1 and Tier 2 production studios since probably early December. We've talked about 8 different studios, and these are studios that have animations on Crunchyroll, Disney, Netflix, Prime, and I mean it when I say not one studio has not shown interest in our production. Everyone who has seen our story, our characters, our comic books, they've just kind of fell in love with the brand, and there have been a few offers on the table already to help take this thing to where it needs to be. So right now we're in the process of onboarding writers and producers who want to work with the brand. In fact, a couple of my co-founders were in LA last Wednesday talking to an executive producer that's worked on like SpongeBob SquarePants, Sesmanos, and a few other big IPs over on, Netflix and just regular streaming. And, he's connecting us with writers in the space that have a lot of experience with sci-fi, because we're sci-fi. We take place in the year 3022. It's aliens versus humans. I can't name names, but, putting us in front of writers who have worked on, Star Trek or Star Wars movies and things like that. So a lot of the right people are coming in place who are interested in the IP, who want to write a story and be a part of something new. I don't know if people in this audience pay attention to much outside of Web3. I hope so. But there's a vacuum right now in entertainment, in both gaming and movies and TV shows. And, I talk about this with my team quite a bit because I pay attention to this stuff. Like, we're literally living in a world where major gaming studios are shutting down because they've gone too woke. Major movie franchises are losing visibility in their core fan base because they're going too woke and they've kind of pulled away from the story. I mean, did you ever think you would live in a world where no one gives a shit about a new Star Wars movie? Star Trek is pretty much dead. Doctor Who is pretty much dead. People are pissed at Marvel. I guess like Deadpool and Wolverine was probably the best thing to come out of there in a while, but people are still pissed. So like, and in gaming, Concord, if you guys don't know Concord, it was a game Sony worked on for 8 years, $400 million down the drain because they made it so woke. There's a studio called Sweet Baby Inc. that basically every game they touched got absolutely decimated by a lot of the top YouTubers in the space and Twitch streamers. And in fact, that's actually another really good point to talk about. So my background before I came into gaming is actually a content creator. So I was one of the first people to create YouTube fitness content back in 2009. I actually created the YouTube fitness influencer category. I grew my YouTube channel to over 3 million subscribers. I was the head trainer for Lionsgate, the movie company. They had their own YouTube division. I worked on that. I did other movie integrations and things, right? And so I understand probably more than anybody in the entire Web3 space the power of YouTube and the power of working with creators. And I have an extensive network on YouTube. And I also have respect because even when I meet people I don't know, they've probably seen my videos. In fact, my whole 3.5 years in Web3 has been meeting people all over the world who learned how to bench press watching my videos when they were in high school and college, which is really fun for me because my goal was to teach fitness to the world. But anyway, so if you guys don't know, there are all these top channels like Star Wars Theory or Nerdrotic or Critical Drinker or Desparmaru. I always say his name wrong. A lot of big studios, gaming and entertainment, they're afraid. There's actually articles about people being afraid of Asmongold and Critical Drinker because they'll pull up your movie trailer and they'll do a live reaction to it. And if it's bad, they'll shit all over it. Like, I think the Snow White movie trailer right now has 1 million downvotes. It's the most downvoted movie trailer of all time. And there's a lot of funny comments there too. My favorite one was, if I was watching this movie on a plane, I would still walk out. Anyway, that's my sense of humor. It's hard doing these.
I get that. That's really funny.
It's hard doing these because at least on Twitter Spaces, I can see people's reactions if they like what I'm talking about. So I kind of going on a tangent on Telegram is a little different. But anyways, kind of pulling it back to, what we're doing moving forward. Basically, we have a game that we're consistently working on. We're consistently adding new features to. We have guys in place. One of our lead developers is this guy's name is Dave Mata. He actually was one of the lead developers for the live ops of 𝗚𝗛𝗡, which is a game that does $40 million a month. So like, we have people in place that know how to make games successful and have them make money. And we're also working with the right people to ensure that on our IP side, we can build and scale that just as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So moving ahead to my next question, the blockchain gaming space is, getting more competitive by the day. So with so many projects trying to like capture the same audience, play to an NFT ownership and the in-game economics, becoming standard features. So what makes WAGMI Games stand out from the crowd? And can you share some any unique features or partnerships or gaming mechanics that you believe give WAGMI an edge over the Web3 gaming projects?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I would say something that gives us the biggest edge over other Web3 gaming projects is that we don't focus on Web3. And that might sound weird to a lot of you here, but at the end of the day, the average person does not give a shit about Web3. They do not care what an NFT is. They do not care what a token is and why am I earning this. They just don't care. So you need to focus on a way that's going to bring the average person to your game and to your ecosystem in a way that makes them want your NFTs and want your token without realizing that it's a crypto game, right? It should just be a game with new features. So back in the day when we played video games, okay, we would buy them from the store. We would plug them into, our Nintendo or our Sega or whatever you had, your Atari, and it would just be a cartridge and you would play the game and then you would have fun. Over time, as technology increased, right, and the internet got invented and we were playing games online, you could then, do DLC packs, right? And then when mobile games got popular, now you're monetizing through, those in-game purchases, which people hated. When mobile games came out and they had those microtransactions, people absolutely hated it until it became the norm. Now nobody complains. DLC packs came out. People hated it. Why do I have to spend more money on a game I already own? When they started to realize that it's allowing them to get more out of the game that they absolutely love playing, it became the norm. So literally asset ownership in a form of NFTs and having, a token in your game that makes sense, it's literally just the next thing for people to hate and then become the norm. So with that being said, what makes us very different from other gaming studios is that we always focus on fun gameplay first, and then we bring the crypto side into the game in a way that makes sense. So if you guys go to kick.com right now, we actually have our own category there, WAGMI Games, WAGMI Defense. And we have streamers already, myself included, playing and streaming the game with their community Monday through Sunday, right? We're focusing on getting gameplay content out. How many of you here remember the last bull run in 2020, 2021? All these games came out. You never saw gameplay ever. They'd be like, oh, yeah, here's updated gameplay. And it'd be the same video. And they would just say it's updated gameplay because it was nothing. It was a nothing burger. They were just trying to scam people out of tokens and money, right? So what makes us different is focusing on gameplay first and then bringing the NFT technology in a way that makes sense. So again, to reiterate, when you download WAGMI Defense from the iPhones, the Apple Store or the Android Store, you log into our game with your email. So we're founding partners with Immutable. So we have the Immutable Passport wallet in our game. When you log in with your email, a custodial wallet's created for you through the Passport wallet. And then even if you want to buy, sell, and trade your NFTs, you still don't have to really know much about crypto. You can just go to our marketplace. You can go to tokentrove.com. You can go to Sphere and log in there with the same email you use on your phone. And now you have access to all of your cards. So it's seamless. It's made easy. In fact, we went on the first reality TV show for crypto called The Next Crypto Gem last year. It was a 7-episode show. We didn't win the show, although we did win pretty much all of the challenges. I think the reason why we lost in the end is because we had to present to BitBoy, and we decided to call him a scammer to his face. Even after we presented, because, we're not going to sit here and pretend like this guy isn't a scammer, and we wanted the world to see that, we have morals and values. So we didn't win the show, but we won the respect of anybody who actually watched it, which is actually my PFP on Twitter. That's what it's from. It's from me calling BitBoy a scammer. But on that show, we had a lot of challenges where we had to present crypto to the average person. So like on episode 1, the first challenge was to explain crypto terms to people who know absolutely nothing about crypto, and we had to explain NFTs. And we won that challenge because of a very simple message. Everybody tried to get like super technical trying to explain crypto terms to like your grandma, right? Your grandma's not going to understand something that's explained to them in a very technical way. And not because she's dumb or anything, but it's something so new and complicated. You have to create analogies that relate to people for them to understand something new. And so all we basically did was I had everybody in the room. I said, how many of you have a phone? They all raised their hand. I said, how many of you have games on your phone that you spend money on? They all raised their hand. And I said, how many of you would like to sell some of the things you don't use in those games that you play on your phone? They all raised their hand. I said, that's an NFT. And like you could see the light bulbs go off over their head. Like, remember those cartoons when you were a kid and the person would have an idea and a light bulb would go off? Like you could literally see it in a room full of people who know nothing about crypto. So that's always been our approach. Keep it simple, stupid. And because of that approach, we've been able to not only survive the bear market, but thrive in it and focus on the things that matter, which is quality gameplay, original characters, and a good story.
That's fantastic. That's amazing. That's amazing, Scott. To be honest, I like the way that you tend to like stay in keep like a positive mind, pushing the project forward and all that. So have you guys thought of like making like a t-shirt merchandise for the project, like have your school bag or shoe, or like to represent your project and all that?
Yeah, so we do have a merchandise store on our website, WAGMIGames.com. We actually did t-shirts for our comic book. So our second comic book, it's called 𝗚𝗟𝗚𝗟𝗓𝗏 Origins. We haven't released the NFT version of it yet. It's actually going to be a partnership with Coinbase. We already announced this like probably November of last year that we're going to do a partnership with Coinbase. They announced it too. And actually our second comic book, we worked with creators from Marvel on it. So for those of you who have seen it and you're wondering why the art looks so good, it's because we worked with some very talented people on that. But we made some t-shirts with the comic book cover on the front, and we went to Las Vegas for Rare Evo last August, and we had an army of like 30 creators walking around with their t-shirts on. We have hats. We have just regular t-shirts that say WAGMI Games on them as well. So yeah, we do have merchandise, and we're going to be doing a lot more of those types of things. What I get most excited about is the physical collectibles. So I mentioned earlier that we have U2s coming out. If you guys don't know what those are, like go to YOWTOOZ.com, U2s. I mean, you'll instantly understand what I'm talking about. I mean, these guys do IP for every major brand in the world. It takes about 6 to 7 months to get through the prototyping phase to get these done, and we're going to be releasing ours in probably March. And that's actually something else to speak about, Brad, that I don't think a lot of people do. And unless you're building a franchise like this, you wouldn't really understand. Like, you guys have to realize that you have to have vision to bring a franchise to life, and you have to have an understanding of what it takes to make that vision possible. And that's another thing I think that separates us from a lot of other brands, not even just in the Web3 space, but in the space in general, like just the gaming and anime and movie space. Because, that anime trailer that I told you guys about that plays when you download the game for the first time, that took about 8 months to get done. It took 3 months to find the right studio. And then it took another, 5 to 6 months to animate that 1 minute and 30-second trailer. Like, this stuff takes a lot of time to do. The U2s prototyping to get to the stage that we are right now is another 8 months. Building the game took a little over 2 years, right? The toy line that David Vonner's working on, the lead developer for the Marvel Universe toys, he's been working on those for the last probably 4 months. So, like, there's no linear path when creating a transmedia franchise. Transmedia just means that you're touching everything. You're not doing just a game. You're doing a game. You're doing collectibles. You're doing comics. You're doing anime, right? Cartoon. It's everything all in one. There's no, like, you can't, like, okay, now we're done the game. Now we're going to work on the toys. Okay, now we're done the toys. Now we're going to work on the cartoon. If you did it that way, it would take 30 years to get a franchise done. So you have to work on a lot of these things simultaneously. And what that also means is you are simultaneously balancing a budget as a bootstrap company to get all of this stuff done so that it all kind of gets finished around the same time. And if that doesn't get you bullish on this team at WAGMI Games, looking at what we've been able to accomplish over the last 3 years compared to other studios, I don't know what will.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So we're going to move to the community questions now. So guys, don't forget to follow the socials. That's the most important part. Join them in their project, and also grab a bag as well. So you guys raise your hands so I can pick you guys for your questions. Hey Sophia, your mic is unmuted. You can go ahead and speak now.
Hi.
Hi Sophia, how you doing?
Hey,
I'm
Sophia.
good. Hi. So my question is basically concerning the community. My question is are there like plans for community governance or decision-making processes?
Yeah, we already have a lot of those in place. In fact, I mean, we've been a studio that's been around for the last 3 years. So we have a Discord, we have a Telegram, we have community managers. We have all of that managed for sure.
Okay, that's good. That's really nice. It goes to show that you have the community at. That's really nice. Nice job. I wish you guys
Thank
good
you,
luck with
Sophia.
it.
So one of our main focuses has always been community, even since the very beginning. In fact, if you guys follow the official WAGMI Games page on X, every single Wednesday for the last 3 years, we have not missed a single WAGMI Wednesday Twitter space in the last 3 years. So anybody who wants to get an update, they can join. If anybody has questions, they can raise their hand and come up to speak. Every single Wednesday for the last 3 years straight, we take our community very seriously.
That's nice. That's nice. Well done, guys.
Okay, Kevin. I see Kevin Apov. Your mic is unmuted. You can go ahead and speak now.
Hi Scott, how you doing, man? Can you guys hear me?
Hey, what's
Yes,
up,
that's
Calvin?
great. We can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. It's really a privilege being up here to speak to talk about my question. Basically, you talked much about the project, basically, I just wanted to know the measures you guys put in place to ensure a user-friendly experience for non-technical users, non-crypto users, people that are new to the crypto space, and how does the platform plan to provide ongoing support and maintenance to address users' issues? Because I have a couple of friends that are actually interested in this kind of stuff, and they will be likely good to go like with this kind of stuff. So yeah, that's basically the question.
Yeah, so great question, Kelvin. I guess the best way to answer that is kind of reiterating something that I had said earlier, where a lot of games, a lot of crypto games, you have to buy an NFT, right? You have to go to a certain website, you have to connect a wallet, you have to figure out how to make a wallet and do all these things that we're used to because we've been doing it for a while. But the average person off the street who has no experience with crypto has no idea where to even get started. And so first things first, we built our game to be play for fun, right? Not pay for power. Anybody can download and play our game and have just as much fun and spend money the same way that they do with any other game on their phone. That's number one. The second part of the answer is because you're playing our game and you're logging in with your email, so whatever email you use on your iPhone to log into your App Store or the Google Play Store on Android, because once you log into our game with that email, a custodial wallet's created for you on the back end, you don't even have to still know anything about wallets or crypto. But on our website, we tell you where to go if you want to buy, sell, and trade your assets or your cards. You know, we don't want to call them NFTs. That's a scary word to people. So we call them what they are. They're your in-game assets that you own. And so if you go to the WAGMI Games website and you go to the store, right, or the marketplace, you'll see a few different options. There's our marketplace, which is going live this week. There's Token Trove, and there's Sphere. And on these marketplaces, again, you don't have to know how to do anything besides log in with that same email you use on your phone. And that gives you access to all of your in-game assets. And you can then buy, sell, and trade those right then and there. So by simplifying the experience and utilizing an email as your login that connects directly to your wallet, we've ensured that the average person can not only play our game, have fun, and make purchases, but also participate in the secondary market, which all of us as crypto natives know is the future of gaming.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I love it. So that's all from me, man. You know, that shows that you guys are really interested in the community. You guys have the community at heart. So yeah, I'll be passing on the mic now to another. I wish you guys best of luck on what you're building up. Yeah, love your efforts. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for your question, Kevin. So I see Steven. Steven, your mic is unmuted. You can go ahead and speak now.
Yeah, I hope you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. I love the way you've answered the previous questions. So basically, my question is going to be concerning the in-game play, how it works, because obviously you said that you're playing for fun. We're going to be playing for fun, right? So basically, my question is going to be, how are you going to adjust you know, the levels of, you know, the different players with a particular skill set? You know, obviously older players, the OG players, are going to be having a lot of like skills, a lot of assets, you know, basically more skills to the game than the newer players. So I just wanted to know basically, so that there's no sort of mismatch or something like that. um you know, a new player comes in contact with someone that's been in the game for a really long time, and you know, it's just not fun for one of them.
Yeah, so great question. So our game scales just like, again, any other game that you would play on your phone where there's PvP battling, right? So as you play the game, you have your character's you know, overall level that'll increase as you earn experience points. As you win and lose battles, you win and lose trophies. Then there's also you also take into consideration the rank and level of your cards that you're playing with. So our battle system is able to read all of these variables and ensure that the box of players that you're playing against are around the same level as you, by taking into consideration those mechanisms. So what player rank you are, how many medals you have, and the level of your cards. So another thing that's really interesting is that we are going to be doing seasons in our game. So obviously, when you're playing a game like this, you have to make sure that everybody has the same opportunity to play. And we're right now on season 1. We've had a preseason and we've had a beta season as we've been testing the game with our community. And so you can be a beta player and play against someone who's new in season 1, and still have an equal battle because you have the same cards. If you remember earlier, I said that you can evolve your cards from common to rare to rare to epic to epic to legendary. Well, if you have, let's say, a beta common human emperor and a season 1 common human emperor, those cards can't be merged to evolve to the next level of rarity, right? So what that basically means is once the season's over and you move on to the next season, if you're a collector like I am, like Pokemon's a great example, if you're trying to get all of the rarities and get all your cards to legendary and the season ends, and let's say you have 4 epics and you need 5 to bring that card to legendary, you're going to have to go to the secondary market to try to find that last card you need. But when it comes to gameplay, doesn't matter what season you started in, you're still getting those same core players. Now, of course, as time moves on, there'll be events. They're called live ops in mobile games where, certain characters will only be available when that event is around, right? That's also a marketing strategy to get people to come and play your game. Like, hey, that character you don't have that came out last year, well, the event's coming back. So everybody comes back because they want to get that character if they don't have it. Or, of course, they would buy it on the secondary market if it's available. But when it comes to making sure the game is competitive and making sure that you're not just logging in for the first time and getting absolutely crushed every single time you play, there are balance mechanics in place. And we also have these same balance mechanics for our AI bots that will find a match and play against you if you can't find a human to play against. So whether you're playing against somebody PvP who's real or playing against our AI bot, the match is balanced.
Yeah, that's really great. That's really great. I really appreciate the way you gave it a really detailed answer. Basically, I still have another question.
Sure.
I remember when I used to play a particular game. I don't want to drop names, but basically,
it's okay.
Basically, the game it just didn't get any fun because people that use money to buy the game, buy stuff in the games and stuff like that. It just kind of became like a game where if we don't buy stuff, or those who have a lot of money, the whales, if they just buy stuff, then us the little guys, we don't amount to much. So basically, I just wanted to know if there's some sort of like a mechanism to prevent this, or at least shield a little bit for those little guys, because obviously you want to have everybody, and there's it's not really good if there's like a whale type situation in the project.
Yeah, so that's called pay for power. That's the term you would use for that, where basically you can just buy all the best stuff and then you're the greatest. So in our game, the way that the ranking system works, so for example, as you rank up your account, you're not going to be able to put level 10 legendaries on your deck that you're playing with if you haven't reached the point in the game yet where you unlock the ability to use those cards, right? So you can theoretically buy all the best cards, but you're not going to be able to use them if you just started playing the game today, because it would create that unfair advantage like you talked about, and then the game does not become fun. You would have to actually, work through what we have. It's called the Galactic Odyssey, where you're earning XP and you're leveling up your overall rank to unlock certain features in the game. You would have to get to a certain point to where those cards unlock, and then you can use them on your team. Now, it doesn't mean people still won't buy them, and we encourage people to buy them. But in order to keep the game fair and to ensure that when you enter a battle, there's a pretty good chance you might win or lose, right? You have to have these mechanics in place. So I had to sneeze. Sorry, I had to mute myself.
Yeah.
And just to kind of throw this out there too, we had people, in the previous season, our preseason, posting on Twitter like, hey, it took me, 3 months, but I finally got my cards to level 10 as a free-to-play player. I finally got my cards to legendary as a free-to-play player. I didn't have to spend any money to do this. I just played the game because I enjoyed it. So we already have seen people proclaim, wow, I'm a free-to-play player, and I'm just as competitive as people who are spending money. That's the recipe for success for a mobile game, whether you're in Web 2 or Web 3.
Yeah, I get it. I really understand. Thank you so much. Because it shows that you guys really put forth effort into it. You really put much thought into it, and you know, you kind of thought about everything. So I would say that's really great. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come on here and ask a question.
Of
Thank you.
course. So something that I didn't mention earlier is that our top 2 gaming advisors, one of them, his name is 𝗖𝗛𝗔𝗟𝗓𝗏𝗡𝗥. He's one of the co-creators of Halo and Bungie. And the other is 𝗖𝗛𝗚𝗟𝗏𝗕𝗚, who was one of the visionaries behind Command and Conquer. And for those of you who have played, obviously, I'm sure you all know Halo, but for those of you who have played Command and Conquer, you know it's a strategy type game, right? Much more complicated than a tower defense game. So we have people, and Halo is great because of the storytelling. Everybody knows Master Chief. Doesn't matter if you were born, 10 years ago or 30 years ago, right? Like, everybody knows who Master Chief is. You got people wrapping their Cybertrucks as a warthog because the story's so good and there hasn't been a new Halo in so long. So that's why we take storytelling so seriously, and that's why we take gameplay and balancing so seriously, because we want to be here for the next 10 to 15 years. And that's the way to do it.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course, that's really great. That's really
that's
great. I really
amazing.
love the long-term
And I'll
vision.
tell you guys, we are probably the most undervalued token in an entire Web3 space. Our market cap is only 10 million right now. Our all-time high, I think, was $80 million market cap. We are right on the cusp of pushing all these things that I've been talking to you guys about over the course of the next month or two. And as I mentioned earlier when I was speaking, we never did massive hype events unless there was a reason to, because you need to be able to sustain that hype or you'll just crash and burn a week or two later. And we see that all the time. Like Off the Grid, for example, they spent millions of dollars bringing Ninja and 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, all these huge Twitch streamers for Call of Duty to play their game 2 weeks before Black Ops 6 came out, which I thought was a terrible idea. And now none of those people are playing or talking about the game. Not because the game's bad. I've played it. I do enjoy it. But the game was not optimized. So a lot of people had a hard time playing. It was overheating their computers. And they also weren't optimized to ensure that hackers, weren't able to enter lobbies. I think after a week and a half, you had some hackers entering lobbies where they were basically shooting thousands of bullets and killing everybody in 10 seconds and wiping the whole lobby, right? You have to make sure you have all your ducks in a row and you have a plan in place. Our plan is transmedia. Our plan is fun game. Our plan is having collectibles ready to go. Our plan is talking to some of the biggest names in Hollywood at some of the biggest streamers to bring our characters to life in a way that makes people want to download and play the game. You don't play WAGMI Defense and just pick the best characters to make your team based on what the current meta is. You're building teams and strategies around your favorite characters because that's what you do in a game that has good IP and characters that you love.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's amazing. So, Scott, is there anything you want to add, another statements before we round up the session?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, I would like to thank every single person here for joining the Telegram chat and listening to WAGMI Games and everything that we have going on here. We do have all of our links to our Telegram, to our Discord, to our token chart, everything that we're doing. All the official links are on our Twitter page. So you guys can follow me on Twitter. Scott_Herman is my Twitter page handle. It has the photo that you saw posted in the main Shark Cruisers chat for today's space. and then you can go right from there to the official WAGMI Games Twitter handle, WAGMI Game Co., or just go to our website, wagmigames.com, all one word. You can find all the official links there. And of course, you guys know I say that because there are scammers out there that are always trying to trick you. So make sure you go to official links only. And of course, something that I always talk about is my DMs are always open. If you have a question, just shoot me a DM. I'll do my best to answer it for you. You can also open Discord tickets in our Discord. We are a very responsive, Sophia came up here and asked about community. We take community very seriously. We answer questions as best as we can, and we try not to leave anybody hanging if they have a concern.
Okay, that's amazing. So, 𝗚𝗛𝗦𝗓𝗏, thank you for your time. So, first off, a huge shout out to 𝗚𝗛𝗦𝗓𝗏 for taking the time to break down things for us and giving us a deeper look into the WAGMI games. So it's clear that the project isn't just another Web3 game. It's just something with passion. They built it with passion, strategy or vision for the future of blockchain gaming. So we covered a lot today, from like the inspiration behind WAGMI Games, to the unique features that set it apart, the challenges onboarding on new users, and how they, ensuring a fun and sustainable gaming experience. So if there's one big takeaway from today, is that the WAGMI Games isn't just about earning. It's about creating an ecosystem where players can, enjoy the game and build community, feel like they're part of something bigger. So to everyone who tuned in, engaged and asked great questions, like Sophia and the rest of them, thank you. The AMA like this in our community. So before we wrap up things, remember, crypto and blockchain gaming are exciting, but always do your research before making an investment, and please follow their socials. These guys are amazing, to be honest. And most importantly, stay WAGMI, everyone. Stay WAGMI. I also heard that some people use the term "we are gonna make it" as the full name for WAGMI Games. I don't know if that's right, Scott.
Yeah, so in the beginning, we stuck with the name WAGMI because we think that it encompasses crypto, right? It encompasses the space. We're all going to make it. So we've actually worked the acronym into our lore for World Alliance for Galactic Mission Intelligence, because the WAGMI army is the army that's fighting the alien invasion. So
yeah,
you got to make it your own, and we certainly did.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, thank you, 𝗚𝗛𝗧𝗏, for your time. Thank you for joining the Shark Cruises community. Stay safe, guys, and stay tuned for our next announcement around the week. We're gonna be hosting more of Web3 game projects like WAGMI this year. A lot of them, reward assets, DeFi, Devin, and the rest of them. So stay WAGMI, guys, and stay safe out there.